Are you an empath? Do you have trouble with personal relationships? If so, in this video I'm going to look at some of that. Hi and welcome back. There are a lot of empaths in this world. It's far more common, or maybe empaths just approach me for my kind of work, I'm not sure. But one of the areas that most empaths struggle in is personal relationships, whether that's with family or with a partner, or even at work, because we tend to get quite involved in whatever we're doing, and feel it quite strongly. So in this video I want to sort of talk a bit about the lessons I've learned, because I've been through it, and how it works for me, and how it also seems to work for a lot of other people I've met and spoken with about this. So as an empath, we tend to kind of, because of who we are and how we feel, we tend to really kind of enmesh our energy with people and take on their feelings and things like that, and often try to fix them. We're the one who wants to make everything better all the time, and that can be absolutely exhausting. And then after doing that for a while and getting really enmeshed with the other person or people, empaths get overwhelmed and need time out, and then the people they've been around can feel rejected, hurt, and all sorts of things like that, because the empath has pulled back and gone, oh my god, I'm totally overwhelmed. What do I do? So it's actually something that happens quite a lot, and it is certainly very, very challenging. So I want to talk about it, and the trick is really to learn not to enmesh quite as much, to learn to use this ability to connect with people's energy intentionally. It's something I had to do because of the amount of people I work with. I couldn't just totally merge with everybody, and I wouldn't be able to do what I do if I did that. I used to do fairs and see 12 people a day for 2 days in a row. If I was too enmeshed and stayed enmeshed, I would have been half dead by the end of the weekend. So you have to learn to detach as well. So you can intentionally connect with a person, but also you can pull your energy back into yourself so that you don't have that sense of overwhelm. So yeah, I always do it by just breathing into my belly and putting my attention and my focus deep into my belly, and feeling, like I'm back within myself, and that way I'm not still hand holding with everybody else. It's the easiest way I've found of doing that. It works a heck of a lot better than putting up walls and this and that and all sorts of things. It's simple, easy, quick. You focus your attentions back inside you, and that'll make life a lot easier. Another thing that's really important is something I had to learn through personal relationships, love relationships, where I would get exhausted and overwhelmed and withdraw and pull away, and it turned into a merry old dance, to be honest, where then the person would feel hurt and rejected and things like that, and it wasn't that good. And the biggest issue for me was that I didn't communicate it that well. I should have been much more upfront about it and said, look, I'm feeling overwhelmed now, I'm going to go and take some time for myself. But because I was an empath, I'd feel guilty about saying that, so I'd push it. I'd go longer until I was completely exhausted and then pull away. So that's not a good idea. Do it before you get to that point. That's what I've learned, is that you need to be able to communicate and say to, whether it's family, your partner, whatever, you need to be able to say, look, I'm starting to feel a bit blah. I need some time just to myself, just to recharge a little bit. And then say, look, I'll see you soon. I'll see you in a couple of hours, or tomorrow, or whatever works for you. But set some limits with that, because otherwise you will get overwhelmed and the relationship will become all-consuming, which isn't really healthy. It's nice to merge with somebody, when you're being intimate and things like that, to really connect, or hugging or talking, but You don't have to merge with them 24 hours a day. That's just not healthy. When your attention, your awareness, your energy is constantly focused on the other person, that's actually just not good. We need to keep our attention and our focus within ourselves unless we're consciously wanting to connect. So that's the trick for empaths, is to learn how to do that, and we can learn it. I've had to learn it. I know other people who've learned it too, so that is really the key to making personal relationships easier for empaths. It means, you can stop isolating yourself and start connecting with people again, but doing it in a way that works for you, that suits you. Somebody who loves you is going to understand that if you explain that to them. Somebody who really cares about you isn't going to reject you for that. They're going to go, okay, it's different, but yep, I can work with that. And so I think that's really, really important. And I see a lot of people doing this intense, especially empaths, this big pull together and mesh and wanting to, plan their entire lives together within a week and things like that. And that is just putting a huge amount of pressure on the relationship. It is going to become too much for the empath. They are going to get overwhelmed by this scenario and pull away, and then they can end up on a bit of a roller coaster, So try and learn to say, hey, look, I'm a bit tired right now, or I'm just needing some quiet. And they will learn that that's what makes you tick. You think about people who live with writers or artists, they have to give their partner space, or they'd never get any work done, it happens, it's possible. So keep that in mind. The communication's the essence. If you're with, excuse me, I've just got to have a swig of water. Or cold coffee. So if you're with somebody who absolutely can't handle that, look at that as a warning sign. It means there's something not very healthy going on. If they can't cope with you having some time to yourself, that's not a very good sign in a relationship. It either means they're very, very insecure, or they're very controlling, or maybe both. So be aware of that. A healthy person who can function by themselves on their own can cope with somebody having boundaries. A person who's toxic will push those boundaries. They won't let you have that space, and they'll keep prodding. So be aware of that, because it is another thing with empaths. From all the work I've done with empaths, a lot of them had slightly unusual backgrounds, sometimes toxic upbringings, difficulties, a bit of trauma and things like that, which actually makes them more empathic, because it creates sensitivities within the energy, so there's often a little bit of history of that in a lot of empaths' backgrounds. There's, some people say that that's what creates the empath. I'm not so sure about that, because I remember feeling very sensitive as a small child, and it wasn't a traumatic childhood, so don't know. I think it just gets worse if we suffer trauma, it gets more intense, not worse. So do watch out for toxic people, because they kind of have like narcissists, sociopaths, people like that, they have this sixth sense, and they just pick up on somebody who's empathic and very loving and ready to really merge and connect and get enmeshed with them. And they pick up on that and they'll then dive in and start over the top, what they call love bombing the person, and being over the top charming and very, very intense. And be a little bit wary, because that is one thing as empaths to be aware of, that you can actually attract toxic people. And as I've had a really toxic relationship, but I don't regret it. It showed me how to have better boundaries and trust myself more, and have faith in what I feel, and not to question it and doubt it. It taught me a lot of good things, but now I have a very, very good radar for toxic people and people with I tend to sort of step back and have a wee look, and I do trust my instincts, absolutely. If it feels off, then I trust that now. And that's the key for empaths. You have a phenomenal intuition if you're an empath. You have a phenomenal inner guidance system. And the trick is to trust that, to be upfront, to be more assertive and say what you need and don't need. And those are really the path of learning for empaths, is to embody all of that, to learn. I've had to learn it through all the people around me. I still find it hard sometimes, you know. If I get somebody contacting me at 10 o'clock at night when I'm half asleep because they've had a fight with their boyfriend, this is a stranger who is contacting me, not somebody I actually know, I find it hard to say, look, you know, can it wait till tomorrow? I'm not going to give you my best right now. I'm sleeping. So, and that sort of thing happens a lot. So when you work in that kind of environment and that sort of stuff happens, you do have to learn to set boundaries. Or you wouldn't survive it. So, but I'm grateful for my empathy, for my ability to read energy and feel into energy and connect with it, because that allows me to do what I do a lot better than I would otherwise, you know. So I don't regret any of it. It's still something beautiful to me, but learning how to handle it is a bit like getting a Ferrari and needing to learn how to drive it. You know, that's our path, our lesson in this lifetime, to do that. And as a fully empowered empath, you won't feel so overwhelmed anymore, because you'll have set good boundaries that when you meet somebody, you'll fall in love with somebody, and they start pushing your boundaries or not accepting them, you'll straight away know that that's not good, and you'll talk about it. And if they refuse to work on that, well, then it's not going to work, and you're going to know that. Whereas, you know, if that person respects that and respects you and respects your boundaries, then you've got somebody good there. So remember that, trust how you feel, trust where you're at in any relationship, and say what you need. Don't run away and hide and try and deal with it. Try and say it. It's a huge thing for empaths, is the throat chakra. A lot of empaths have very, very not very active throat chakras, because they're not very used to, you know, being assertive and being strong in what they say. So anyway, that was just my quick ramble about empaths and relationships. I wanted to talk about that because it comes up a lot in my work. And there are ways to make all of that so much easier. So if you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more on this kind of topic, please let me know in the comments below. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more videos I make. And lots of love to you, and trust that intuition. I'll see you all next time.